joining me today. I'm Esther, and today I'll just be kind of sharing a little bit about just my interest in kind of working in the field of human trafficking. And I just want to share about how kind of this is crazy because last year I was pretty much talking about more of the education and the information, the spreading awareness about human trafficking, and I ended with how I so longed for an authentic, real opportunity to even just meet a girl or have a conversation with them, build a relationship, something, somehow, and that was the biggest prayer in my heart. And by the end of the summer, my friend, just one day from my old church, was saying how she went to this training through Rest, and this is just a picture of their website. But it stands for Real Escape from the Sex Trade. It's a Christian faith-based nonprofit. And she just told me, I know you have such a passion for this, so why don't you just go check it out, because there are outreach programs you can partake in. And so I did, and so there's one where it's bikini baristas. You pretty much go to the girls at the stand and try to have a conversation with them. Mainly you're trying to get them out of that kind of job and show them that there's multiple different types of jobs that are probably better for you. There's the street outreach team where on Friday evenings from I believe midnight to 3 a.m. there's a team of girls that go out and give hygiene packets or gift bags, and that's kind of their way of starting a dialogue or a conversation, building a relationship in that way. And I went out there once before I took on a different position, and you know what? It's just like what you see in the movies. Like cars just driving by extremely fast, open doors, close shut, drive away, and there are just girls from all different backgrounds. You see girls who are very proud of what they do, in their skin-tight dress, it's just crazy. And then there are girls who are, pregnant, and yet they are still out there in the streets. And it was just heartbreaking to see, because even an older woman who was over the age of 30, she herself was watching these girls walk down the streets and saying, I feel so bad for these girls. They're too young to be doing this. And she's been doing it for several years. And so, yeah, it was just crazy to witness. And so sad that Seattle is one of the highest, cities with sex trafficking. And the last thing that the executive director of the training talked about was this housing program. And, when that came up, seriously, my heart just beat it so fast. I just wanted to run to her, and I kind of did. I was like, I need to talk with you, because you know what? Yeah, I don't care, whatever it takes. If I need to, quit my job, I want to work with these girls that are going to be running this house. And we met up for a short meeting, and my passions and my desires aligned with kind of her vision and what she's going to outline for the program. And by the end of the summer, yeah, I had to drop my preschool teaching job. It was going to be an unpaid position at first. And so I went in really not knowing exactly what I was getting myself into. But, I told God, God, I want you to use me to the fullest. I want to show these girls that there is hope, that, there is hope for the future, because you are the healer, you are the redeemer, and you've proven that over my life. I'm a testimony to your truth, and I want these girls to know that there is hope for them. And I told myself I want to show them the love of Christ through the way I speak to them, through the way I, through the way I serve them, pretty much. And so the great thing about this transitional living program is that it's very much intentional discipleship, but very basic. So we would have nightly devotions, and we would read a little bit of the passage. And this is what kind of opened them up to share a little more about who they are, where they're coming from, their traumas. There are times where they're vulnerable. These are real talks. I'm struggling with this. I'm still struggling with thinking about men, perhaps, or the temptation of going back out there in the streets. So it's just real conversations that we're having here. And to end the night with prayer, there was that level of accountability. And so, yeah, I assisted them in getting their GED going, looking for jobs. If they had medical appointments, just giving them a ride there, and making sure that, learning how to time manage, even money manage, because this program wanted to teach how you kind of save money to, get what you need. And so it was a very growing experience for me. There was a lot of challenges. It wasn't easy because these aren't your average girls that you're working with. Only 2 girls could live at a time in the house, and even with just two, it was hard because sometimes they would act up. They would test me, like cuss me out to see if I'll cuss them out again, or they did everything that they could to see if I would break. But thank the Lord I didn't. But there were many times where I would be in my room, somewhat crying or questioning and asking God, like, do you really want me to be here? Sometimes I wonder. And after that kind of prayer, I stepped out, and an opportunity or a moment comes where one of the girls are telling me, I'm about to tell you something that I've never shared to another soul. I probably would never tell this to anyone else, but I'm telling you. And so that was really humbling. It's truly a privilege to really just invest into someone's life on such a personal level. And I always had to constantly remind myself, why am I doing what I'm doing? And it's because that Jesus was such a man of compassion. He always meets us where we're at. The woman of the well. The woman at the well is one of my favorite stories. And so when it got rough, I would always have to go back to God and have Him remind me like why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so I believe that every one of us, once we are saved, like through our conviction, God places mission on our hearts, and it might be one thing that you might do for the rest of your life, or it might be several other missional opportunities. And so I just wanted to encourage you all that God definitely answers prayers. Like if you ask for it, He will give it to you. And this one was probably the biggest one, like you just like threw at me. And so do you guys have any questions? Yeah.
I know you're over here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anybody that's on the Eastern Washington side?
I can definitely look into it with like the nonprofits that do work on this.
On that?
Yeah, for sure. If you can just remind me at the end, I will totally do that. Thank you so much, Julie.
Yes.
Anyone else have any questions?
What can we help you to do this ministry?
Say that one more time.
What can we do to help you?
Oh, well, I stepped out from the role just recently because it was a little bit too much for me to keep going for like a few more months because it was a year-long commitment. I kind of naturally took on way too many roles, and I just felt like I was doing everything. And so there was a lack of support, I felt, and eventually it became burdensome, and I just knew I had to pray about it and ask God, what do you want me to do now, and what do you want me to do next? And I believe He called me out. I'm definitely still very much wanting to continue being involved with human trafficking, and throughout the break period, maybe just teach more about it, speak more about it. But if you could just pray for the girls that are out in the streets during the evening, or just girls who are still in the life, that would be very helpful. So, thank you.
I'm just wondering how difficult or easy is it for the girls to get out if they want out?
Well, I think it's definitely a case-by-case situation, but with the girls that were in the Rest Transitional Living Program, some of them we met at the streets, in the streets, but maybe a few years ago. So that relationship was kind of continuously being built. And once they had expressed like, I want out, or I want my life to change, they were kind of like, okay, you're on the list. And so we do have a list that Rest has, and they just go through it all. And so if it's not Rest, what they do is collaborate with other nonprofits around the Seattle area, and like there's places called Hope Place. And so we definitely try to collaborate and put together all our resources to help the girls. And even the person that took on my role, she's case manager at the house, but she might also case manage other girls who come to us and ask for help.
Is it legal to be on the streets for the girls? Is it easy for them to be out?
I believe so. I think so. Yeah. I forget, I don't know the exact laws, but I think it's not where, if a cop finds a prostitute, I don't think he's gonna take her right straight to jail. I think he's definitely gonna take the time to kind of hear the story out. You know, back then it would just kind of be like straight to jail. So the laws are just slowly changing. But I would say Seattle was by far like on top of that for sure. So that's definitely something to be proud of. Yeah. But yeah, if you ever have any more questions, you can contact me. I just want to thank you all for joining me here today and kind of sharing my experiences. I hope it was encouraging to you all.
We're the